to Miss Ortiz's book blog and today's book talk. Today I'm with my 10th grade honors English class, and we're here to talk about Where She Went by Gayle Forman. Where She Went is the follow-up novel to If I Stay. So just as a note, if you have not read the first book in the series, then you will probably get some spoilers. This book talk will definitely ruin the first book for you. So let's recap the previous novel so that we can understand the beginning of Where She Went. Mia Hall thought the hardest decision she would ever have to face was between playing the cello and going to Juilliard, or taking a different path and going with the love of her life, Adam. But what happens is on what's supposed to be a carefree drive with her family, they're in a horrible accident and her life hangs in the balance. So while she's in a coma, she's actually quite aware. Her spirit, she has like an out-of-body experience, and her spirit comes out and can see and witness everything that's going on around them. So while she's there, she has to make another important decision, or the only important decision is whether she stays on this earth and stays with her people that love her, or she goes and she dies. So she decides to, after some encouragement from the love of her life, she makes the decision to stay. So fans of If I Stay were left hanging at the end of the novel, not really knowing what became of Mia and Adam. It kind of just left it as is. So Where She Went is the sequel to If I Stay and picks up with Mia and Adam 3 years later. One important thing to know is that Mia is no longer the narrator of this book. So I remember I picked it up and I started reading it and I was like, this is really odd. I don't remember it sounding like the first book, but it actually is Adam's perspective. So you get a different perspective of the book. 3 years after Mia's decision to go to Juilliard, we see that Adam is now this big rock star. He's in the band Shooting Star. He's selling out shows. He's selling a lot of records. However, it isn't really what he thought it should be. So we learned that Mia hasn't been a part of his life for quite some time, and he has kind of turned to the negative side effects of rock and roll. There's drugs and partying and all of that stuff that kind of goes with that. He's with a famous girlfriend as an actress. She's an actress and he's with her, and he really doesn't love her, but she's there and he doesn't really know how to respond to that. So at this point in the novel, in the very beginning, he is kind of torn between kind of following along with the band and going through the motions, or kind of deciding what he's going to do with his life. Well, one night he decides to not go with the band to the next tour date, and fate kind of intervenes and places him at Carnegie Hall, which is where Mia is actually having a cello concert. So he's there and he listens to the music, and she invites him backstage. So through this event, they kind of decide to go on an adventure through New York. And this adventure kind of brings up a lot of issues from their past. So with that being said, this adventure, is it going to bring grief? Is it going to bring a promise of hope, a rekindling of love? Is it going to bring them closer together? We don't know. So this is definitely a book that brings closure to the series. So if you must read, so it is a must read, for those who are fans of the epic love story found in If I Stay. So if you have not read Where She Went yet, I totally recommend it. It is a great book, and it definitely brings closure to that idea of true love that kind of left us hanging in If I Stay. So check out Where She Went, available now at the OCHS Library.